What if everything you thought you knew about your brain, your mood, even your decision making, what if it was being influenced by an entire universe of life inside you? We're talking about something, well, something so profound, so intricately woven into our very being that's often called our second brain. Today's deep dive is going to completely challenge the traditional view, the long-held idea of the brain as the sole command center. We're going to embark on this fascinating journey to explore the profound and really intricate relationship between your gut microbiome, that bustling ecosystem of trillions, literally trillions of microorganisms inside your intestines, and your central nervous system. It's a connection so vital, so deeply personal. It's fundamentally reshaping how we understand ourselves and our health. It's quite something.
Absolutely. And our mission today, for you listening, is to really extract the most important, the most impactful insights from all the cutting-edge research that's been pouring out on this. We want you to walk away not just with, facts and figures, but with a deep understanding of the how and the why behind this astonishing connection. Ultimately, the aim is to show you how this new understanding could truly revolutionize our approach to mental health, maybe offer new pathways to well-being, and even, well, dare I say it, redefine what it means to be human. Because this isn't just about digestion, right? It goes much deeper. It's about existence itself.
I'm genuinely captivated by this topic, I have to say, and I'm really eager to dive in with you today. So we're going to start by dissecting the gut-brain axis, revealing the multiple intricate pathways, these channels through which your gut and brain are in this constant bidirectional chat. Then we'll uncover the truly mind-boggling fact, and it really is mind-boggling, that these incredible microbes act as actual neurochemical factories, literally producing compounds that directly influence your brain chemistry. From there, we'll examine their surprising and, frankly, pervasive influence on your mood, your cognitive abilities, even your behavior. And then we'll look towards the future, exploring the exciting new therapeutic horizons this profound knowledge opens up. Just to set the stage, though, think about the sheer scale of what we're talking about. Imagine this. Your gut is home to tens of trillions of microbes. Tens of trillions. And collectively, they contain at least 150 times more genes than the entire human genome itself.
It's staggering, isn't it?
It really is. It's not just a part of you, it's an entire teeming world within you. Okay, let's unpack this. For centuries, our understanding of ourselves has been distinctly neurocentric. We've thought of our brain as the ultimate boss, this perfectly insulated seat of consciousness, emotion, rational thought. Any gut feelings were purely metaphorical, right? The brain was the command center, the undisputed ruler. And this view has really been the bedrock of how we understand our identity, how we approach mental health.
Exactly. And what's truly revolutionary is how rapidly that deeply ingrained view is being revised. It's happening now. We're realizing we are not solitary, self-contained organisms. Not at all. Instead, each of us is this complex ecosystem, a living host to an astounding diversity of microorganisms, bacteria, sure, but also archaea, viruses, fungi. Together they form what we call our microbiota. And the densest, the most metabolically active, and arguably the most influential of these communities resides right there in our gastrointestinal tract. That's the gut microbiome. What's fascinating here is that this internal ecosystem, with its immense genetic diversity, it's now understood to be a key regulator of almost every aspect of human health. It influences everything from our immunity and metabolism to, perhaps most astonishingly, our mental state and even aspects of our personality.
Wow.
Yeah, it forces us to reconsider the very boundaries of our own being.
Yeah.
Where do we end and the microbes begin?
And it gets even more tangible than just, a community of microbes influencing things from afar. This concept of a second brain, the enteric nervous system, the ENS, it isn't just a convenient metaphor we throw around, is it?
Not at all.
It's a literal physical network. Your gut actually contains this vast, complex network of over 100 million neurons. I mean, to put that in perspective, that's more neurons than you'd find in your entire spinal cord.
It's an incredible number.
It really is a complete neural circuit embedded right in the walls of your digestive system, running all the way from your esophagus down to the other end.
Precisely. And what's critically important about the ENS is its astonishing independent capabilities. It's quite remarkable. While it does receive input from the central nervous system, your head brain, the ENS, is capable of operating with remarkable autonomy.
Really? On its own?
Yes, it independently orchestrates and manages incredibly complex gut functions like motility, that's the rhythm that moves food through, and secretion, controlling digestive enzymes and fluids. It's why your gut can technically manage digestion, even if the main nerve connecting it to the brain, the vagus nerve, is severed.
That's amazing.
It is. But the true paradigm shift, the real game changer that researchers are now focusing on, lies in the discovery that this gut brain isn't merely operating in isolation. Not at all. It's in constant, dynamic, intricate conversation with your head brain.
Okay.
And the gut microbiome, those trillions of microbes we just mentioned, is now understood to be the primary mediator, maybe even the orchestrator, of this entire bidirectional dialogue. This complex communication network is what we refer to as the gut-brain axis.
So if we have this second brain down there and an entire universe of microbes influencing it, what does this all mean for us? How does this teeming internal world actively shape who we are? It must go way beyond just helping us digest lunch, right? How does it redefine our sense of self?
Well, that's the core of it. This deep dive will build a compelling evidence-based case for viewing mental health not merely as isolated brain chemistry, not as something solely residing within the skull. Instead, we'll demonstrate how mental well-being is a holistic property, really, of an integrated biological system, a system where the gut microbiome plays an absolutely indispensable active role.
Indispensable?
Yes. It profoundly challenges our very definition of self. It forces us to consider that our thoughts, our deepest emotions, our resilience to stress, maybe even subtle aspects of our personality, they're all profoundly influenced by these tiny, ancient co-inhabitants. It means that to truly understand and nurture ourselves, we need to look beyond the brain. We have to consider this vast, interconnected system that includes our gut and its microbial residents.
It's like discovering we have a co-pilot we never knew existed.
Exactly. And it's been navigating for us all along. So to really grasp the depth of this microbial influence, it's essential we understand the architecture, the structure of this gut-brain axis. It's far from a single simple connection, not like a single wire. Instead, it's a remarkably complex network of diverse signaling pathways. Think multiple routes. These allow for continuous bidirectional communication between the gut and the brain, back and forth all the time.
Bidirectional, right?
And as we've hinted, the gut microbiome sits right at the heart of this network. It's not just influencing, it's actively participating in and being influenced by each of these pathways.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. It's like a bustling, multi-lane superhighway, isn't it? With all sorts of different vehicles. You've got neural signals, hormones, immune cells, microbial byproducts, all traveling in both directions, constantly exchanging vital information.
That's a great analogy.
And it's far more sophisticated than a simple one-way street. And you mentioned the amount of traffic flowing from the gut up to the brain is actually quite remarkable.
Indeed. One of the most significant pathways, truly the main superhighway of information, is the vagus nerve. This is the longest cranial nerve in your body. It extends all the way from the brainstem down through your chest and into your abdominal organs, including, crucially, the gut.
Okay.
It serves as the primary physical connection between your gut and your brain, that bidirectional superhighway. But here's a crucial detail that often surprises people. Approximately 80 to 90% of its nerve fibers are afferent.
Afferent, meaning?
Meaning they carry information from the gut to the brain. Only the remaining 10–20% carry signals from the brain down to the gut.
Wow. 80 to 90% going up.
Exactly. It strongly highlights the profound upward influence of the gut on our central nervous system. It suggests our brain is receiving far more messages from our belly than it's sending down.
That completely flips the traditional picture, doesn't it? So how exactly do these gut bacteria influence it? Do they just send little signals, or is it more direct?
Oh, it's quite direct. They don't just send vague little signals. They can directly stimulate those afferent fibers of the vagus nerve, the gut-to-brain pathways.
How?
Well, for instance, certain bacteria are known to produce neurotransmitters like GABA and serotonin right there in the gut. These neurotransmitters, or even other microbial metabolites, these byproducts, can then bind to receptors on the vagal nerve endings embedded in the gut wall. This directly impacts the signal sent up to your brain.
So they're like tiny messengers knocking on the door of the vagus nerve.
Precisely, influencing the conversation. And to illustrate its crucial role, consider these pivotal animal studies. Researchers actually severed the vagus nerve. It's a procedure called vagotomy.
Right.
What consistently found was truly compelling. This procedure blocked the anxiety-reducing and mood-elevating effects of certain beneficial bacteria. These are often called psychobiotics, which we'll definitely talk more about later.
Or block them completely.
Completely. This really hammers home the vagus nerve's indispensable role, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Without that direct line of physical communication, the positive effects of these microbes simply couldn't reach the brain. It demonstrates a clear causal link.
Okay, so that's the neural highway. What's next?
Well, moving beyond that direct nerve connection, we also have the immune system. This acts as your gut's incredibly sophisticated internal surveillance and defense network. It might surprise you, but the gut is, in fact, the largest immune organ in your entire body.
The largest, more than, say, the skin or lymph nodes.
By far. An astonishing 70% approximately of the body's immune cells actually reside in the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, or GALT. And the gut microbiome is absolutely essential for the proper development and function of this immune system. It effectively trains these immune cells from birth.
Trains them? How?
It teaches them to distinguish between the harmless commensal bacteria, the ones that belong there, and potentially harmful pathogens that need to be swiftly neutralized. It's a constant negotiation, a learning process.
So if that delicate balance, that training, gets thrown off, what happens then? If the microbiome becomes imbalanced?
That's a critical point. When you have an imbalanced gut microbiome, a condition known as gut dysbiosis, it can lead to what's colloquially, but quite accurately, called leaky gut.
Leaky gut. I've heard that term.
It's not just a catchy phrase. It refers to a measurable increase in intestinal permeability. The tight junctions, like the mortar between the bricks of your gut lining cells, become compromised. Tiny cracks appear in that protective wall.
Okay.
When this happens, bacterial components, particularly potent inflammatory molecules like lipopolysaccharides or LPS, they can actually pass through that weakened barrier and enter your bloodstream.
LPS, that sounds bad.
It is. LPS is a powerful trigger for inflammation. Its presence can ignite a systemic immune response throughout your body, leading to chronic, low-grade inflammation. And here's the critical connection to the brain. This inflammation isn't just confined to the periphery. These inflammatory messengers, called cytokines, small proteins, they can cross the blood-brain barrier. That's normally a highly selective filter protecting the brain.
Get into the brain.
They can, yes. And once they do, they can induce inflammation in the brain itself. What's fascinating and deeply concerning here is that chronic neuroinflammation is now recognized as a key factor in the pathophysiology of major depressive disorder, anxiety disorders, and other mental health conditions.
Wow. So a direct line from gut imbalance to brain inflammation.
Exactly. It shows how intimately connected these systems truly are.
Incredible. Are there other pathways?
Yes. There's also the endocrine system, the system of chemical messengers or hormones. Your gut acts as a major endocrine organ in its own right. Specialized cells lining your gut, called enteroendocrine cells, are remarkably prolific. They produce over 20 different hormones.
20 different hormones, just from the gut lining.
That's right. These hormones are released into the bloodstream in response to the food you eat, and critically, in response to signals from your microbes. Once in the bloodstream, they can travel throughout the body, including directly influencing brain function.
Can you give us a couple of compelling examples? What kind of influence are we talking about?
Absolutely. For example, gut microbes play a significant role in regulating the release of hormones involved in appetite and satiety. Things like ghrelin, which stimulates hunger, and peptide YY, which signals fullness after a meal.
So they influence when we feel hungry or full.
Directly, influencing eating behaviors and metabolism. But beyond basic appetite, the gut microbiome plays a critical, nuanced role in regulating your body's primary stress response system. This is known as the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis.
Or HPA axis, right, the stress system, cortisol.
Precisely. This axis is your body's central command for dealing with stress, governing the release of cortisol. And studies have clearly shown that the specific composition and diversity of your gut microbiome can directly influence the reactivity and regulation of your HPA axis.
How?
Well, a healthy, diverse microbiome is often associated with a more resilient and well-regulated stress response. It allows you to adapt and bounce back more effectively from daily stressors. Conversely, gut dysbiosis is frequently linked to HPA axis hyperactivity. That means an overactive stress response, which is a hallmark of chronic stress, anxiety disorders, and depression.
So this raises an incredibly important question, doesn't it? Could your gut microbiome be making you more susceptible to stress?
Or, conversely, more resilient to it. It's a powerful connection between your internal microbial ecosystem and your fundamental ability to cope with daily pressures.
Okay, so we've thoroughly explored how the gut and brain communicate. We've got the vagus nerve, the immune system, the endocrine system, these multiple pathways. Now, let's truly delve into what they're actually saying to each other. Because here's where it gets truly astonishing, I think. It turns out your gut microbes are not just sending signals. They are literally making neuroactive compounds.
That's right.
The same kind of essential chemicals your brain uses to regulate everything from mood to cognition.
Exactly. It's one of the most direct and profoundly fascinating ways The gut microbiome influences the brain. By producing and modulating neuroactive compounds that are chemically identical, or at least functionally similar, to those used by our own neurons in the central nervous system.
So our gut is like a secret pharmacy.
In effect, yes. An incredibly sophisticated pharmacy, manufacturing substances that profoundly impact your brain's chemistry and function, often without you even realizing it. Let's start with serotonin, often called the mood stabilizer or happiness hormone, right?
Crucial for mood.
Crucial for mood regulation, sleep-wake cycles, appetite control, even influencing gut motility itself. Now, while we know serotonin is active in the brain, here's that astounding fact again. An astonishing 90 to 95% of your body's total serotonin
95%.
is actually produced not in your brain, but right there in your gut, specifically by specialized endochromaffin cells lining your digestive tract.
That's the vast majority. It just fundamentally reorients how we think about serotonin.
It does.
So if most of it's made in the gut, how do the microbes come into play? And what does it mean for our mood if it doesn't directly cross into the brain?
Good questions. The production of serotonin in these gut cells is directly influenced by the gut microbiome. Certain species of spore-forming bacteria, for example, have been shown to actively promote serotonin synthesis.
How do they do that?
They metabolize the dietary fiber you consume, fermenting it into short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, particularly one called butyrate. This butyrate then acts as a signaling molecule. It interacts with specific receptors on those enterochromaffin cells, boosting their serotonin production.
Okay, but you said it doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier.
Right, that's the critical clarification. Gut-derived serotonin doesn't directly cross into the brain to act there. However, its importance cannot be overstated. It plays a vital role locally in regulating gut motility, how things move through. Disruptions there can lead to systemic issues that indirectly impact brain function and mood. And more importantly, perhaps, its presence and the health of its production environment in the gut seem to be intrinsically linked to our overall mental well-being. It influences the upstream conditions that affect our brain, including signaling via the vagus nerve, which can relay information about serotonin activity in the gut up to the brain.
Ah, okay, so it influences the messages going up that vagal highway.
Precisely. So while gut serotonin isn't brain serotonin, its presence, its levels, the health of its production, it's all part of the bigger picture influencing our mental state.
Got it. What other neurochemicals are these microbes making?
Another incredibly important one is gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA.
GABA, the calming one.
It's exactly the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter in the central nervous system. Think of it as the brain's main brake or calming agent. It reduces neuronal excitability, promotes calm, relaxation, reduces stress. Deficiencies in GABA signaling in the brain are strongly linked to anxiety, stress, even depression.
Okay, so here's the truly remarkable part I read about. Something I find genuinely astounding. It's not just our own cells making GABA.
That's
Our
right.
sources reveal that several species of gut bacteria, including Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium, names you might see on probiotic labels, they are capable of synthesizing GABA themselves right there in your gut.
It's quite incredible, isn't it?
It sounds almost too powerful to be true. Does that mean we could, in theory, just feed our gut certain bacteria to become calmer?
Well, that's precisely the exciting implication researchers are exploring very actively. This microbially produced GABA is believed to act locally on the enteric nervous system, your second brain, influencing gut function. But more importantly for our discussion, it's also believed to signal to the CNS, your head brain, via that vagus nerve pathway again.
Ah, the vagus nerve again.
Yes. This is thought to be a key mechanism contributing to the anxiety-reducing and mood-stabilizing effects observed with certain probiotics. These are the psychobiotics we keep mentioning and we'll detail soon. It shows a direct chemical link. Tiny organisms in your gut producing the very calming agents your brain needs.
Mind-blowing. Are there other key molecules? You mentioned SCFAs earlier.
Yes, short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs. These are far more than just simple metabolic byproducts. They're crucial. They include vital molecules like butyrate, propionate, and acetate. They are the main metabolites produced when your beneficial gut bacteria ferment the indigestible dietary fiber you eat from fruits, vegetables, whole grains. These aren't waste products. They are powerful signaling molecules. They have wide-ranging effects throughout the body and, critically, in the brain.
How so? What do they do?
Well, locally, SCFAs are a primary energy source for the cells lining your colon, the colonocytes. They keep your gut lining healthy and strong. They also play a critical role in maintaining the integrity of your gut barrier, that protective wall. They help prevent leaky gut and stop things like LPS from entering your bloodstream, thereby reducing systemic inflammation.
Okay, so they're good for the gut itself, but you said they impact the brain too.
Yes, and this is really important.
Yeah.
SCFAs can cross the blood-brain barrier and directly influence brain function.
They get into the brain.
Some of them can, yes. Butyrate, in particular, is a real star here. Some call it brain food. It has been shown in studies to have profound antidepressant-like effects, and it can even promote neurogenesis.
Neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells.
Exactly, especially in areas like the hippocampus, which is crucial for memory and mood regulation.
How does it do that? That sounds incredibly complex.
It is. One key way is by acting as a histone deacetylase inhibitor, an HDAC inhibitor.
Okay, that sounds technical.
It is a bit, but basically it's an epigenetic mechanism. That means it can alter gene expression in the brain without changing the underlying DNA sequence. It essentially helps switch certain beneficial genes on or off, influencing the production of proteins that are vital for brain health, plasticity, and function.
So microbes fermenting fiber in my gut can influence which genes are active in my brain.
That's the implication, yes. It suggests your gut microbes can influence the very architecture and function of your brain at a genetic and cellular level. It impacts long-term brain health and resilience.
That is profound. A microscopic influence with potentially life-altering consequences.
Absolutely. So when you bring all this together, the convergence of these intricate communication pathways, the vagus nerve, the immune system connection, the endocrine system, the direct production of neurochemicals like serotonin and GABA, the influence of SCFAs, it provides us with clear and compelling mechanisms for the microbiome's profound influence on our mental state.
Right.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it means the composition and health of your gut microbiome are not just linked, but intrinsically tied to a wide range of psychological functions, from your deepest emotions to your sharpest thoughts, and even your daily behaviors.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? For your daily life, your feelings, your emotional resilience, how you think and navigate the world? It really sounds like these tiny microbes are having a huge say in who we are.
Let's deep dive into depression and anxiety first. This is one of the most extensively researched areas of the gut-brain axis, and obviously one with significant implications for many people. The link between gut dysbiosis, that imbalance, and major depressive disorder, MDD, is becoming increasingly clear and robust. It's not just speculation anymore.
Right.
Patients diagnosed with MDD consistently show a different gut microbial composition compared to healthy controls. It's a pattern.
What kind of difference?
Often it's characterized by a significant reduction in overall microbial diversity, fewer different types of bacteria living there, and also a noticeable decrease in beneficial butyrate-producing bacteria.
Those SCFA producers again?
Exactly, the ones vital for gut and brain health. The proposed mechanisms are thought to be multifactorial, as we've touched on. Increased systemic and neuroinflammation from that leaky gut scenario, dysregulation of the HPA axis leading to an overactive stress response, and altered production of those crucial neuroactive metabolites we just discussed.
It sounds like a perfect storm within the system.
It can be, yes, a complex interplay, but the evidence linking gut health to depression is mounting significantly.
Okay, but here's the critical question for me. It's one thing to see a correlation, right? To say, people with depression tend to have different gut microbes. But is there any evidence of a causal link? Does an unhealthy gut actually contribute to causing depression? Or is it merely associated with it, maybe even just a symptom? That feels like a really important distinction.
That is indeed the critical distinction, and the research provides some truly strong causal evidence that's hard to ignore. Really compelling stuff. Consider the groundbreaking fecal microbiota transplantation, or FMT studies, mostly in animal models for this specific question, of course.
FMT transferring gut microbes.
Exactly. In these elegant experiments, researchers have transferred gut microbes from human patients diagnosed with depression into healthy, germ-free rats or mice. Animals raised in sterile conditions with no gut microbes of their own.
Okay. What happened?
What they found was consistent and truly compelling. The recipient animals, those previously healthy rats, began to exhibit depressive-like behaviors themselves.
Like what?
Things like reduced social interaction, signs of anxiety, and anhedonia, which is a core symptom of depression, that loss of pleasure in activities they normally enjoy.
Wow. So giving them the microbes from depressed humans made the animals depressed.
It strongly suggests that yes, it provides powerful direct evidence that the gut microbiome plays a causal role in the manifestation of these mood disorders, at least in these models.
That's That's huge.
It is. It's not just a symptom. It appears to be an active, contributing part of the cause, demonstrating how these microbial communities can fundamentally alter brain function and behavior.
Okay, so mood is clearly impacted. What about thinking? Cognition?
The influence extends far beyond just mood, absolutely. The gut microbiome also profoundly impacts your cognition and decision-making abilities. You know that feeling of brain fog, that sluggishness, difficulty concentrating?
Oh, yes, too many tabs open in the brain.
Exactly. Research suggests this pervasive feeling or general cognitive impairment can have a very real biological link to what's happening in your gut. Specifically, the chronic low-grade inflammation associated with gut dysbiosis can significantly impair crucial cognitive processes.
Which ones?
We're talking about vital functions like memory, particularly working memory, holding information in mind to use it, and executive function.
Executive function, like planning, problem solving.
Exactly. Planning, problem solving, attention, focusing amidst distractions. These high-level cognitive functions depend heavily on specific brain regions, notably the hippocampus, critical for learning and memory, and the prefrontal cortex, the seat of complex decision-making and rational thought.
And these areas are vulnerable.
They seem to be particularly vulnerable to inflammatory damage. A constant inflammatory assault originating from the gut can compromise their function over time.
So it's not just about feeling down. It seems our gut might even be influencing how clearly we think and the choices we make. Not just a foggy feeling, but the actual quality of our thoughts.
Indeed.
How does this translate to our everyday decision-making then?
Well, emerging research suggests a strong and nuanced link between the gut microbiome and our decision-making processes,
Yeah.
especially when we're under pressure. We know the gut-brain axis profoundly influences our physiological response to stress, right?
Right, the HPA axis.
And stress, as we all know, is a key factor in how we make decisions. For instance, under conditions of acute stress, humans often exhibit a clear shift in their decision-making strategies. We tend to move away from rational, goal-directed decisions, which are primarily handled by the prefrontal cortex, the logical part, towards more habitual, reflexive behaviors.
Like falling back on old habits.
Exactly. Behaviors mediated by the striatum, a more automatic, less conscious part of the brain. This can lead to impulsive choices or relying on patterns, even if they're not the best option in the current situation.
So, hang on. If our gut microbiome is modulating our HPA axis and our inflammatory response, it's essentially influencing our resilience to stress. And consequently, the very quality of our decisions, especially when the stakes are high. That's a powerful connection.
It is, absolutely. By modulating your HPA axis and your inflammatory response, your gut microbiome directly influences your resilience to stress and consequently the very quality of your decisions. A healthy, balanced gut might help you maintain that prefrontal cortex function, allowing you to stay more rational, analytical, goal-directed, even when facing acute stress or complex choices.
Whereas a disturbed gut might push you
Towards more impulsive or emotionally driven decisions, potentially. Furthermore, there's even a fascinating subtle detail: microbial influence on those appetite-regulating hormones we mentioned. Ghrelin, peptide YY.
Yeah.
It can even impact economic decisions related to food choices. Studies have shown changes in gut microbiota can alter preferences for high-fat or high-sugar foods.
Seriously, so my microbes might influence whether I buy the cake or the salad?
They might suddenly nudge you towards certain purchases in the grocery store, or influence impulse buys related to food. It's a truly pervasive influence, extending from deep emotions to practical daily choices. So, the discovery of this incredibly intricate and highly influential gut-brain axis, it's truly opened up exciting and entirely new avenues for the treatment of mental health disorders. It's a field that has long sought more effective, maybe less invasive approaches,
Definitely.
Instead of solely targeting the brain with traditional pharmaceuticals, which often have side effects, these emerging approaches aim to modulate brain function and improve mental well-being by specifically targeting and optimizing the gut microbiome. It's a foundational shift in therapeutic strategy, looking to a new frontier for mental health care.
Imagine that, treating your mind by nourishing your gut. It's a completely different way of looking at mental well-being, isn't it? Moving from a solely head-centric view to a more holistic internal ecosystem perspective, leveraging our body's own complexity.
Precisely. And one of the most promising strategies involves what we now call psychobiotics.
Psychobiotics. Okay, what exactly are they?
The term was coined to describe a live organism, essentially a specific type of probiotic that, when ingested in adequate amounts, produces a measurable health benefit specifically for patients suffering from psychiatric illness or psychological distress. Our sources highlight specific strains of lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, for example. These have been rigorously investigated. They've been shown in a growing number of clinical trials to significantly reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression in some groups.
Really? Clinical trials are showing this?
Yes. They've also been observed to lower cortisol levels, indicating a calmer, more regulated stress response, and even improve certain aspects of cognitive function in some studies. So this isn't just a general good for your gut thing, it's potentially a targeted approach for mental well-being.
Okay, so how do these psychobiotics actually work their magic then? What are the proposed mechanisms? Are they just sort of setting up shop in the gut?
Well, their proposed mechanisms are truly multifaceted. They leverage the very communication pathways we've already spent time discussing.
Ah, connecting the dots.
Exactly. They're thought to exert their beneficial effects by, 1, producing valuable neuroactive compounds, like GABA, directly influencing brain chemistry and promoting calm. 2, they actively work to reduce systemic inflammation throughout the body and, crucially, in the brain, counteracting that neuroinflammation linked to mood disorders. 3, they play a vital role in strengthening the gut barrier, helping to repair leaky gut scenarios and prevent those inflammatory molecules like LPS from entering the bloodstream in the first place.
Sealing the barrier.
Right. And 4, critically, they communicate with the brain directly via the vagus nerve, sending those positive, calming signals upward, acting as beneficial messengers.
So it's a systemic approach, hitting multiple points along the gut-brain axis.
That's the idea, targeting multiple points of influence.
Fascinating. What about things we can do more easily, like diet?
Absolutely crucial. Complementing psychobiotics, we have diet and prebiotics. If probiotics or psychobiotics are the beneficial bacteria themselves, prebiotics are essentially the critical food that helps your beneficial bacteria thrive and multiply.
Food for the good guys.
Exactly. Prebiotics are non-digestible fibers found naturally in many plant foods. Think onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, bananas, oats, whole grains, lots of common foods. When you consume these fibers, your beneficial gut microbes ferment them. And what do they produce?
Those short-chain fatty acids?
Like butyrate.
Precisely. Those powerful and brain-active SCFAs like butyrate that we discussed. So prebiotics are crucial for cultivating a healthy, diverse, and functional internal microbial environment. They are the essential fuel source that enables your good bacteria to do their important work.
Okay, so if psychobiotics are the specific beneficial organisms you might add, prebiotics are like their essential high-quality fuel, making sure they're well-fed and can do their job.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. It's an excellent way to think about it. And this brings us naturally to broad dietary recommendations. Our sources strongly emphasize that a diet rich in diverse, fiber-rich plant foods is one of the most effective, accessible, and sustainable ways to promote a healthy and diverse gut microbiome.
So you don't necessarily need expensive supplements to start.
Not necessarily. Simple, mindful dietary choices can make a profound difference. Variety is key. Eating a wide range of different plant foods feeds a wider range of beneficial microbes. And as a compelling real-world example, consider the Mediterranean diet.
Right, lots of good press for that one.
For good reason. It's consistently high in fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, olive oil, healthy fats, and generally lower in processed foods and red meat. This dietary pattern has consistently been associated with a lower risk of depression, anxiety, and improved cognitive function across numerous studies, decades of research.
And the thinking now is that the gut connection is part of why it's so beneficial for mental health.
Exactly. The positive effect is now believed to be at least partially mediated by its beneficial impact on the gut microbiome. It fosters a microbial community that actively supports mental well-being and brain health.
It's a holistic approach where what you eat truly nourishes both your body and your mind via the gut.
That's it. But the therapeutic horizons don't stop there. Researchers are also intensely exploring the potential of fecal microbiota transplantation, FMT.
Right, you mentioned that for the animal studies. Is that being looked at for humans beyond specific infections?
It is. While it's primarily approved and highly successful for recurrent Clostridioides difficile infection, the research community is now investigating its potential for mental health conditions too. Early studies, mostly animal or small human trials, so we need caution, but they are showing intriguing results in areas like depression and even autism spectrum disorder.
How would that work?
The idea is to fundamentally reset a dysbiotic or imbalanced gut by introducing a diverse, healthy microbial community from a carefully screened donor. However, it's a really complex area. Many challenges remain: identifying the right donors, standardizing procedures, ensuring safety, understanding the long-term effects.
It sounds promising but complicated.
Exactly. It highlights the immense power of the microbiome, but also the scientific rigor needed to translate these findings into safe and effective human therapies. It's not a DIY thing.
Definitely not. What else is on the horizon?
Looking even further ahead, the concept of personalized microbiome interventions is gaining serious traction.
Personalized. Tailored to the individual.
Precisely. Imagine a future where your doctor could analyze your unique gut microbiome profile, your specific mix of microbes, and then, based on that analysis, recommend a highly specific, tailored dietary plan, perhaps a custom blend of psychobiotics or even a targeted prebiotic formulation, all designed precisely for your microbial ecosystem to optimize your mental and cognitive health.
Wow, like precision medicine meeting microbiology.
That's the vision, an individualized approach to harnessing the gut-brain axis.
That's incredible. And beyond diet and microbes themselves, what about lifestyle?
Yes, absolutely crucial. Let's not forget other foundational lifestyle factors that profoundly influence the gut microbiome and, by extension, our mental health. Regular physical exercise, for instance. It's consistently shown to increase microbial diversity and foster a healthier gut environment. This likely contributes to its known anti-inflammatory and stress buffering effects.
So moving your body helps your microbes.
It seems so. And adequate, consistent sleep is another critical modulator. Sleep deprivation can negatively alter gut microbiota composition surprisingly quickly. Yeah. This can create a vicious cycle where poor sleep impacts the gut, which then further exacerbates sleep issues and stress levels.
It's all connected.
It really is. Even practices like mindfulness and meditation, which are known to reduce stress and activate the vagus nerve through relaxation responses. Even these can positively influence the gut microbiome.
Through the vagus nerve again. Likely, yes. It demonstrates the truly reciprocal nature of these connections. Stress impacts the gut impacts stress, relaxation impacts the gut. It paints a picture of comprehensive well-being, doesn't it? Where every aspect of our lifestyle ripples through our internal ecosystem.
Beautifully put. That's exactly it. Hashtag outro. So to just reiterate and consolidate this profound shift in understanding, the notion of a second brain in the gut, it's really not a fringe concept or just a catchy phrase anymore. It's now a central, empirically supported tenet of modern neuroscience and biology. The gut microbiome is not a passive passenger just along for the ride in our bodies. It is an active, integral, and indeed indispensable component of our biology, truly a co-pilot, constantly modulating the neural circuits, governing our mood, our thoughts, our behaviors, our overall resilience.
And this paradigm shift has profound implications for all of us, doesn't it? The constant, sophisticated, bidirectional dialogue along the gut-brain axis means that our mental state, our emotional resilience, even our cognitive sharpness are inextricably linked to the health, diversity, and balance of our internal microbial ecosystem. It fundamentally challenges that traditional separation of mental and physical health. It makes it abundantly clear that a truly healthy mind really requires a truly healthy gut. It's an integrative approach.
Absolutely. And this new understanding offers a powerful, biologically grounded explanation for those well-known, almost intuitive links we've always sensed between diet, stress, exercise, and mental well-being. It provides a clear biological mechanism for connections we've observed and felt for centuries, which then raises an important question for everyone listening. If your gut is so influential in shaping your mental landscape, what simple, actionable changes could you start making today? Perhaps in your diet, maybe adding more diverse plant fibers, or focusing on sleep or stress management techniques. What small steps could you take to actively support your mental and cognitive health through your gut?
And looking to the future, this deep and growing understanding of the gut-brain axis opens the door to a completely new generation of therapies for mental health disorders. These approaches promise to be, hopefully, less invasive, more holistic, and fundamentally aimed at restoring the natural symbiotic relationship between our brain and its microbial second brain. It's an incredibly hopeful and exciting horizon for mental well-being, isn't it? Suggesting a future where optimizing our inner ecosystem is a key to unlocking greater health.
It truly is. As we continue to unravel the astonishing complexities of this internal world, it becomes increasingly clear. To truly understand ourselves, to truly heal and optimize our human experience, we must look not only to the marvels of the brain in our head, but also to the teeming, intelligent world of life within our gut. So the final thought, perhaps, is, what new possibilities does this holistic, integrated view of human biology open up for your own personal well-being and for how we approach health and self-discovery in the future?